Charlie is all boy, and a day in his life is a wild ride.
Good morning, Charlie.
Charlie was 10 months old the day he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Charlie was always our alarm clock. The morning that he was diagnosed, I kind of opened my eyes and realized Charlie hadn't woken me up, and I went in to check on him, and he was laying in the crib with his eyes slit open, gasping for breath, breathing. And when we walked into the pediatrician's office, the nurse literally took him out of my arms. They called an ambulance, and it took us to Texas Children's. They didn't know if Charlie was going to make it. His blood sugar was 876 when we got to the ER. He was in a diabetic coma, and they had to do a CAT scan to check for brain swelling. They didn't know how much damage had been done. There's no history of diabetes in our family. We didn't know anything about it. What we knew was that it had something to do with insulin and something to do with sugar.
1076.
Wow, that's very great.
With diabetes, we had to learn a whole new world. So what was Charlie's number?
176.
We had to become Charlie's pancreas. It's a very delicate process. It's not a just give him a shot, he'll be okay for 5 hours. It's give him the exact amount of insulin he needs to keep him within range. And if you're off by 25%, you've got a low, and you need to figure out how much sugar you need to get him back up so he doesn't go into seizures or get confused. And if you don't get him enough insulin, then he gets high. And the highs are what you have to avoid, because the highs lead to the long-term complications. The end goal of the game of Pong we play is just to keep his blood sugar in range as well as we can, as often as we can.
Charlie, shoes on. Go, go.
He was put on a pump at 12 months old.
Shoes on.
One of the reasons Charlie was on a pump at that age is because he needed such small amounts of insulin that you couldn't dose him with just insulin and a needle. But the pump would allow us to give him the tiny amounts of insulin that he needed. 15 years ago, that couldn't have happened. The pump technology didn't exist. But 15 years ago, there wouldn't have been anything we could do for him.
Good morning, Charlie.
When Charlie was first diagnosed, we didn't have a DEX. DEX is short for Dexcom.
It's a great place to start the day, Charlie.
It's a continuous glucose monitor.
As soon as Charlie gets in, he hands me Dex, and it's my job to monitor his levels throughout the day. It was really scary in the beginning, knowing that I was going to have a kid whose life depended on me. I can't imagine what my life as his teacher would be like without Dex, because it really gives me a sense of relief. It is very accurate and, instantaneous. So the moment we're going down, I know. Without the funding of JDRF, technological advances like Dex wouldn't be possible.
Because Charlie's had diabetes his whole life, he doesn't know life any other way. To him, it is just part of our routine. And what's really important is to make it look easy for him. It has to be no big deal. When we're so frustrated at what's going on with his blood sugar, we can't let that frustration go to Charlie, because at this age, we don't want him to think that there's anything wrong with him. His job is to be a kid and to have fun. It's going to kill me the day that he realizes that there's something wrong with him and that it's not going away. Until there's a cure.
Let's go see Nurse Myrtle.
Charlie comes a minimum of 2 times a day, once before lunch and then once before his snack in the afternoon. If he's having lows or highs, then we'll see him more often.
24, right? It's sad when everybody else can get a snack right away, but we have to think, oh, did we get our bolus yet? You can see on his face when he's having a really high day or really low day that he gets nervous. Thank you, Nurse Myrtle. It's heartbreaking. We can only hope that, with the advancement in funding, that more tools become available that will really just help us make their lives easier.
We order supplies through the pump company.
My name on it?
It's got your name on it. What are those? He wants to be the one that opens the box.
They're all my stuff.
It's the day after day after day of what the numbers are doing, the toll that's taking on his body. Tell me what your number is. The long-term effects of just that up, down, up, down, up, down on him can be some of the complications like amputations or kidney failure or blindness or death.
Mommy?
Yeah.
259.
We can't kind of think about that too often because that's just when you kind of you just can't go to this dark place. He puts up with so much, and he does it with a smile on his face. Awesome. All the time. Great job.
Thanks.
I wouldn't want to have a sight change done every 3 days. I wouldn't want to wear all this equipment attached to my body all the time. He has to sleep with the pump on. It only comes off for baths. He has never complained once. That's a lot for a 5-year-old. Charlie has a little brother, Tommy, who's 2 years old. Anytime that Tommy's diaper looks too full or that he starts drinking a lot of water, we whip out the meter.
Gotcha! I need that.
Oh, sorry. And it just kind of breaks your heart a little bit because Tommy realizes that this hurts and I don't want it done, and then yet this is something that we are doing to Charlie every day and multiple times a day. 16 cards, good job. JDRF was started from parents of type 1 diabetics, and their mission has always been to cure type 1 diabetes.
JDRF and the scores of researchers and scientists and medical doctors have made amazing strides in combating this disease, and they're making amazing strides towards finding a cure and finding technologies that could effectively be considered a cure. I'm really excited about the artificial pancreas, and that's the Dexcom and the pump talking to each other and working in unison.
And this is the diabetes patient I always wear.
That's right, you always wear it.
It's treasure.
Francis learns about
Diabetes.
The dollars that people donate end up going towards science, improving technology. It's a very focused approach on getting the dollars that come in the door going towards finding a cure and improving the lives of the kids and adults that have this disease.
And although that cure for type 1 diabetes is the Holy Grail, and that is what we want more than anything else in the world, the other important thing that is happening along the way is that JDRF is focused on improving the lives of type 1 diabetics. Improving the technology that he wears, improving the size of the needles that go in him right now.
And with any luck and with continued support from everybody, by the time Charlie goes to college, maybe he's not a type 1 diabetic anymore. Or if he is, maybe it's not something he has to worry about blood sugar numbers all the time. The money that goes to JDRF doesn't just go to Charlie and all the type 1 diabetics that are out there right now, but it goes to the millions of them that we're gonna have in the future if we don't get this thing cured. And that's why we're here. Couldn't be much prouder of Charlie. He does everything that's asked of him and doesn't complain about it. And we ask a lot of him.
Let's turn type 1 into type 9.